somewhere you might have been told that the solid in general can be found either in the crystalline or in the amorphous state of any solid. They differ in terms of nature of order that is present in the arrangement of the particle. When I say nature means I am talking about the level of order that is present in the arrangement of the constituent particle. Either you may find them in the crystalline state or in the amorphous state. But despite that, suppose if I don't want to go at the particle level, how do you differentiate between a crystalline and the amorphous? Can you give me some example at least with which you can differentiate between crystalline and the amorphous solids? Pick their crystals, right? Just like sodium chloride. You can take a table salt, even if it is powdered form, you can still isolate very tiny crystals from that, right? The moment you try to crush it, it will still have a texture which looks crystalline. But there are substances which you make them very tiny in terms of crushing or smallest particle, they will feel like as if they are made up of powder, more like powder basically, okay, very fine powder. So those substances or those solids are called as amorphous solid. Now here, when we are discussing the same ideas, crystalline and amorphous, we will be mainly discussing by going down to the level of arrangement of the constituent particle. Somewhere on the way you have also known a little bit about this, not that it will be completely new to you, but let me go discussion about crystalline solid. When we say crystalline solid, there is a unique property about the arrangement of particle, and that is called as long range order. Okay, for example, these sodium chloride, or let's say quartz, which is silicon dioxide. Okay, quartz is silicon dioxide material. So you know that if you pick up a crystal of sodium chloride, and we already know the structure of sodium chloride, there is a very regular pattern in which sodium ion and chloride ions are arranged. The smaller one here are sodium ions and the bigger ones are chloride ions. Okay, chloride ion has higher atomic mass number, so it is bigger. So, and around each sodium you can see that here it looks like 4, but in 3 dimension if you look at, there are 6 of chloride ion, one on the back side, another on the front side. So this arrangement is repeated in 3 dimension. Okay, this is a 3-dimensional structure. If you repeat this, you get a bigger and bigger crystal of the sodium chloride solid. And this is how the solid of sodium chloride can exist. This is very much fixed. A solid of sodium chloride, when I say, you have to be able to imagine only this form, because that is how sodium chloride exists. Because it is, you know, the 2 type of ions are attracted by each other, so they have to arrange themselves in a certain way. It is all determined by the attractive forces between the particle and also the size of the particle. What kind of solid it is going to form, it is determined by the level of attraction between the particles. So of course sodium chloride leads to a peculiar crystalline arrangement of crystalline solid, and which has a peculiar arrangement of its constituent particle. And when I say long range order, I can actually repeat this for any length of space and I will still get the same arrangement. So these arrangements are repeated in space exactly in the similar manner as to the place where you are studying. For example, I am making an observation, let's say in a very tiny region here. For example, if I want to make an observation here about the arrangement of sodium and chloride, okay, let me not take this portion, but let's say in this portion, how chlorides are arranged around sodium atom. Now just by understanding this arrangement, I can predict the arrangement of these particles anywhere in this crystal. And I can even say that if I move in this direction, on the 4th position at a certain distance, I will find a certain type of particle. At a certain distance, I will find a certain particle. If I move in this direction, I will find at a certain distance a particular particle. Okay, so any kind of prediction about the entire solid, about the arrangement of the particle in the solid, can be made just by observation at a very small region here. So these arrangements are highly ordered. You can actually say that there is a certain order in the arrangement of particle, and these arrangements are repetitive and at any longer distances. So crystalline solids generally have long range orders. That's the peculiarity about crystalline solids. Okay, you may talk about, let's say, other solid. For example, although I have taken this image from your book, it is representative of two-dimensional arrangement, but of course it will repeat in three dimension. Okay, three dimension. The one thing that I want to tell you, in some time you will find that the particles are shown very close to each other. This is the right kind of representation where the particles are best shown in the packing arrangement. But to make sometime picture much more clear, in diagrams generally they show with this kind of separation also, but actually speaking they are not separated like this. They are very close to each other, very nicely packed with each other, but just to make a clarity, the certain time the separations are created, just like as if you are showing about the bond and other thing. But let me tell that this is, let's say, silicon dioxide arrangement in three dimension, in a repetitive manner. A certain pattern is repetitive, and the same pattern will repeat in three dimension, although it is a two-dimensional diagram, but it will repeat in three dimension. So then you get a form of quartz, a form of material which is called as quartz. This is also silicon dioxide. Okay, of course, the particles of silicon dioxide, they are covalently bonded with each other. Just like in carbon graphite, or in diamond, all the carbons are bonded to each other with covalent bond. In the similar manner, if you take a grain of silicon dioxide, and you may find this kind of bonding. But if this pattern is highly organized or ordered, where you can just study one portion and predict long range order, then this is like a crystalline solid. Okay, but contrary to this, the same material, same silicon dioxide, sometimes is found with little less order. The order is there, but only found in a shorter distances. And let's say if I just talk about a certain order in a shorter distance, let's say in this region, okay, then I may find a order, similar order in this region, but in between there is a certain disorder. Okay, so the ordered arrangement are short range, and I definitely cannot predict the entire arrangement or the arrangement in the entire solid just by studying in one location, the arrangement of particle in one location. I am not talking about the bonding pattern. Please see, don't get confused when I say the arrangement of particle. The bonding pattern is going to be same. Like you will have one silicon with two oxygen. Okay, that is fixed, because that is by nature the bonding pattern has to be like this only. But I am saying that if you consider one particle like silicon dioxide, how the other particle are arranged around it. That's what I mean. So that thing, if it is not repetitive in three dimension, then this arrangement is called as amorphous state. Amorphous state doesn't mean there is no ordered arrangement at all. There is ordered arrangement, but those arrangements are very, very short. They are observable only at a very tiny and shorter distances, only within the few molecules. And then if you move further, then those arrangements are not observable. There are some disorder in between. Okay, again you may find, but there is a huge disorder in between. You have the example of the same the material which is made up of the same element, let's say in the same proportion, like silicon dioxide, and there is arrangement here also of the silicon dioxide, but this arrangement is more ordered, and we have a completely different material which is called as quartz. Okay, just because of the difference in the arrangement of order, level of order. And if it is disordered, then we call it as normal glass. Your normal glass has a disordered arrangement of silicon dioxide particle, but in terms of look it will not differ much. You won't be able to make out if it is quartz or glass, but only based on their properties they will be different. You have heard of quartz material, quartz glass, or quartz material, right? All of you know that quartz, they might be used in your Google sometime, or some other kind of, not in Google, sorry, but in some other preparations. Specific properties are dedicated to the quartz and specific properties are dedicated to glass. You see, chemically they are similar, and this is a nice example because chemically they are similar, but still their physical properties will be different. Optical property may be different, or other property may be different, simply because the level of order is different in the two. So one is amorphous and another is crystalline. Did you realize now the significance of even the order that is present in the solid, and that will determine the property of the material. Chemically the material may be same, but the properties will be different simply because the arrangement of particles are different in the solid material. Is it clear to all of you? Likewise, you may have, let's say, some polymer molecules like rubber or plastic, where you have long chain molecules like polymer we have studied in your polymer you have not studied, but you know what polymers are. These are very long chain molecules, right? Okay, so in long chain molecule, if you examine the whole of the sample, then in very short ranges you may find some ordered arrangement like this. Okay, let's say this is just the schematic, but there could be some order in the arrangement of the particles. So that portion is more like a crystalline part, but a large portion in between, like this kind of structure, that may be random arrangement of the particle, and that may be the amorphous region. So a certain short range crystalline ordered, when they are observable, that material is generally put into the category of amorphous solid. Okay, because they will lead to certain properties of the material. Okay, so here are some important differences I just mentioned. One of the important difference between the crystalline and amorphous solid. Okay, we are starting with the two broad categories of the solid. One is crystalline and amorphous, another is amorphous, only based on the level of order that is present in arrangement of the constituent particle of the solid material. Okay, so I said that when you say crystalline material, you are talking about the long range order in the particles, but when you say amorphous, your order of arrangement is short range. Okay, and whatever order is present, that is also randomly oriented. For example, this region seems to be crystalline, but if you examine the crystalline in the other region, it may be of different orientation. Even the orientation might be different. Okay, I'm sorry I drawn this here, but let's say here, if I draw this, suppose even if you find some other portion which also is crystalline arrangement, regular arrangement, but the orientation might be different. For example, here I said that this is like a more ordered arrangement, but the orientations are different. But here orientations will be fixed. So this is a one fundamental difference in crystalline and amorphous solid, that crystalline material have long range order. You can predict the arrangement of the particle at any distance, but in amorphous you cannot do that because there are short range arrangements. Okay, and definitely, as I said, because of this subtle difference of arrangement of particle, the properties of the material, although they may be chemically same, but their properties will be completely different. Okay, this is something that you have to be able to realize. Okay, now there is another class, not completely different. Actually, it is a crystalline state. Okay, here is a schematic which represents crystalline arrangement of, let's say, some particle. They can be molecular or atomic. Let's say a crystalline arrangement means a highly ordered arrangement. Amorphous state means a disordered state. Okay, random, or in between there will be some small crystalline or ordered arrangement. Okay, for example, this arrangement looks like more of an ordered arrangement, but it's a short range. Okay, so for example, this looks more of order, but it's a short range, and then in between you don't have arrangement which are, so this is another one which I can pick here, but in between you have random arrangement of the particle. So this is amorphous state. But apart from that, there are material like metals. Now when you say metal, you generally imagine that metal atoms are also nicely ordered arrangement. They are also crystalline. Okay, metal arrangement, the atoms of the metal, they are also arranged in a very ordered fashion. Their packing is also very ordered. But what happens, normally a pure metal sample, it experiences various kind of the work on it, for example, and during this work they slide over each other. The tinier fraction, they slide over each other, and they lead to some kind of grain formation. For example, if I talk about this particular portion, this has still a completely ordered arrangement, and with respect to this one also has a completely, this portion also seems to have a completely ordered arrangement. This portion also seems to follow similar kind of ordered arrangement, but it seems to be little bit slide off. This whole portion also seem to have a certain arrangement and seem to be slide off from the whole of this. So there is kind of grain formation. The grain, the tinier portion of the same crystalline particle. Okay, suppose there is a solid crystal here. If it is little bit the region of this crystalline solid, if in the tinier grain form, if they are moving here and there, not moving but they are little bit distorted here and there, but within the grain the particles are still arranged in a quite orderly manner. Please see, I am not saying they are amorphous. In amorphous, when you say, there is a disordered arrangement of particle also in between, but here it is not that. There is no disorder of arrangement of particle. Wherever you pick, you may pick one grain, the arrangement of particle will be highly ordered. You may pick a tinier grain, it will be still ordered arrangement, but it's just that one grain is little bit separated from other grain. It is not like exactly repetitive like this. This is generally found in metals. I will tell you why. So hold on for a minute, but I am saying that metals most of the time they tend to have this kind of crystalline arrangement. So we call this arrangement as not amorphous or not crystalline but polycrystalline, because there are tinier crystals, as if you won't be able to observe them with your naked eyes because they are of the atomic scale or molecular scale only. But I am saying that these grains arrangement they start form in metals. So if we take a block of a metal, in that block of metal you will find that there are large number of crystalline or tiny microcrystals, and these microcrystals they all have ordered arrangement within them. That's why these kind of solids are referred with a different name called polycrystalline solids. Okay, most of the metals, the atomic arrangement of metals will follow polycrystalline geometry. Okay, if you examine any tinier portion in 3 dimension, it will look like a perfect crystal because the arrangement is not disordered, but it's just that it seems to be breaking up, still in connection, everything is in contact of each other, but they seem to be forming smaller grain structures like this, which are of nanoscale only, nanometer dimension. You won't be able to see with your naked eyes. Okay, so this still makes it different from amorphous solid, because in amorphous solid when you talk about, of course there are tinier crystalline arrangement, but there are a lot of disorder observable in the entire material itself. Is this idea of polycrystalline material clear to you? Anybody having not followed this one? Because in this chapter, let me tell you, we will have to bring up some vocabulary in the beginning of this chapter. There are some terms that are being introduced to you, which are like vocabulary for this chapter. So you should be able to understand these concepts or ideas. When I say crystalline solid, what you have to imagine, you should be able to imagine. And when I say amorphous, what you are supposed to imagine, you should be able to imagine. But when I say polycrystalline, which is also crystalline material, but when I say crystalline, polycrystalline, how you should be able to imagine, I just told you, right? Is it clear? Most of the metal will be polycrystalline. Why is that? I will tell you in the meanwhile, so don't worry about that. Is it clear to all of you? So quickly, I just discussed that the solids in general can be put into 2 broad categories based on their textures, which are observable even in the naked eyes, crystalline and amorphous. But at the fundamental particle level, they can be better put down in terms of long range order arrangement of particles versus short range order of particles. Okay, and in between this is not an in between category. When I say polycrystalline, actually it is generally misunderstood as if it is in between crystalline and amorphous. No, you should not get that way, because it is a crystalline, but as if very tiny large number of crystals get together and they form, let's say, a big particle of a metal. So it seems like a cluster of crystals, very tiny crystals. Okay, but it is that itself is one big particle altogether. So that is why this kind of crystalline substances are put with the name of polycrystalline.